Greetings and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast yearning for engagement, and probably exceeding our quota for engage puns for the rest of the year. I'm your host, Jordan Rudek, and this week we're getting engaged Fire Emblem style. Yes, we're sharing impressions of the first 11 chapters of Fire Emblem Engage. My partner in crime this week is someone who's spent far too much time with new Fire Emblem mascot Sami. It's Paige Chamberlain.
I named my Sami Solaire. Did you give yours a different name?
I didn't even know you could name it. I never named anything in Pokemon, so maybe I'm just
have you not talked to Sami at all?
I've given it, him, she, he, she. I don't know. I've given it food. And
I think when you first meet them, you can change that.
Okay. Yeah, I must have just skipped over that part. I usually do. I don't in games. I don't usually name characters. I just kind of keep them what they are. So Sami was good enough for me.
Yeah, I already have max friendship with Sami, so
nice. And what's the? Hopefully, it's not too spoilerish. What's the benefit of that, or what do you get from maxing out that one?
Nothing seems to have changed between like partway through and maxing, but Sami helps you out with some of the activities in the Sami.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I've missed a couple on the training where it's helped me out.
It also relentlessly chases you throughout the Sami once you're like halfway through the friendship bar.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah. I definitely want to be chased around Somniel, so I'll have to feed it a few more fruits and veggies and give it some more pets, I guess. Before we hop into Fire Emblem Engage proper, I felt like compelled, I guess, to share. It's been a while, but I did try a new Oreo recently. Yeah, I know. It feels like it's been years, but I think the last one I did was Neapolitan, which I really liked. That was very good. The latest one I've seen on the shelf, I had to buy right away. Just 'cause it's a cookie type that I like. Normally, but the one I got was Snickerdoodle. Paige, are you a fan of Snickerdoodle cookies?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so
I've heard the word like through movies and stuff, but I don't actually know what it.
I think it's basically just like a cinnamon cookie, like a cinnamon sugar cookie. You might have like cinnamon sugar kind of dusted on it. It might have cinnamon in the ingredients, like actually inside the cookie. But yeah, it's pretty plain. I don't think there's a ton that's special to it, but other than the addition of cinnamon, I can't really characterize it other than that. That's the thing that stands out to me the most. At any rate, the Snickerdoodle Oreo, kind of a white Oreo or vanilla Oreo cookie. And then the cream is vanilla with like not sprinkles, but they're kind of like colored sugar, kind of colored crystallized sugar, like that kind of sprinkle that you can get on some things. To give it kind of, it looks a little holiday-ish, actually, I'd say. It's fine. I didn't love them, probably in the back half of my Oreo list for sure. The cookie's a little bit too crunchy, crumbly for me. I didn't love that consistency, especially compared to the Neapolitan one. The flavor's fine. Like I do kind of get a little bit of cinnamon from it. So it does have a little bit of a Snickerdoodle taste to it. The sprinkles, like I don't think they add a ton. My kids liked seeing sprinkles because they like seeing sprinkles on everything. But yeah, Snickerdoodle, not one I would go out and recommend to everybody. I think maybe if you love that particular type of cookie, like it's your absolute favorite, check out the Oreo, see how it compares. But Snickerdoodle, like it's good. I would buy it. It's not my favorite or anything like that. But the Oreo itself, though, not a little bit disappointing. I think I wasn't over the moon with it. So yeah,
the Oreos have come back and they've disappointed.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame when you take a little bit of a hiatus. It feels like, and then you come back and it's not doesn't live up to it. It's more like again, kind of coming off the high of Neapolitan, which I put like top 3, I think. And then we're back on the Oreo train here, and then the next one, yeah, definitely disappointing compared to that one. But I think we need to send you some snickerdoodles, Paige, so at the very least you've tried that cookie before.
And yeah, I just because yeah, I guess like it's been mentioned in TV shows and stuff, but obviously if they are in Australia, I haven't seen them.
Is
And
it possible they go by another name there?
maybe I don't know. Like
Yeah.
when we say snickerdoodles, I assumed there's something like Snicker bars or something.
No, not at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very nondescript, kind of boring cookies. Like they're very kind of plainish. Like they can be good if like the consistency is good and all that stuff, but they definitely don't stand out in my mind.
Okay.
At any rate, do you have anything for the treat discussion or the snack
No, I
discussion?
haven't come up with any new Australian dishes recently.
Okay,
Although
okay.
I had an idea now while you're talking about Oreos, is that I should give you guys like the recipe for one, and then you have to tell me how you rate it.
That'd be fun, actually. Yeah, if we maybe David and I could each, and Casey, we could each make our own Oreo based on your recipe and see
Or
see
not
what kind of rating
Oreo.
we would give it.
Oreo. I
That'd
mean,
be
just
fun.
normal food.
Oh, normal food. Oh, okay. Like a normal Australian kind of
The Australian
specialty.
food. No, I don't. I don't know how you'd make your own Oreo. I haven't seen any Oreo maker kits that I've heard of.
Yeah, that would probably be a disaster.
Yeah, that'd be very complicated.
I was gonna say, speaking of making Australian dishes here, I realize you mentioned, or we were talking about it a while ago, but the fairy bread, right? Just putting kind of
That's that
sugar and
is
butter on bread.
it's not sugar. Oh my god, that's the one I was thinking of getting you guys to do. So you get your bread, you butter it, and then you get the specific the sprinkles you specifically use are hundreds of thousands.
Okay,
I don't know if you got them. They're like
maybe by another name. Let me have a look here.
they're
Hundreds.
the sprinkles that are circles basically, like spheres. You can do sort of regular sprinkles too, but also I think
Oh yes, okay,
it's
yeah. No, we
there's a
like them. We always have those in the house, hundreds of
yeah.
thousands. Yeah.
I'm gonna say otherwise, even though fairy bread's an Australian thing, there is I think it's the Netherlands, possibly a different country,
Yeah.
European country that does like a chocolate version of that, where they have like chocolate sprinkles or chocolate flakes, and then that's the food
Okay.
they eat.
Yeah, that would be
So
good.
it's funny to see like that there's a very similar thing elsewhere in the world.
So I'm wondering, does anyone just put sugar and butter on bread? Because that's what my son has been eating. My youngest, he likes putting just like plain kind of white sugar and on butter on his toast. Like that's how he'll
And
eat it.
I'm sure that's something old people do, but no, it's not.
It's very good. Like when he doesn't finish it and I end up kind of eating his leftovers, I do quite like it a lot. And I'm like, I really shouldn't make this for myself because it's so high in carbs and calories. I'm like, if I can have his leftovers, that'll be my little treat, I guess. But it's just funny. My son's been eating that every time he does. It reminds me of fairy bread, even though it's a little bit different.
No. Although the important thing about fairy bread is you have to cut it into triangles.
Right. Okay. And I'd say we rarely do triangles here. It's usually squares or rectangles if I'm feeling lazy. But okay, good to know. Gosh, we have those sprinkles in the house, so I should probably just make that for him because I think he would love it because he likes sprinkles on everything. And
Yep.
when I give him a bowl of like those hundreds of thousands sprinkles just to put on like his cookies or whatever he's decorating, he'll just eat the sprinkles by themselves. He won't even do any of the decorating. So I'm left, trying to do the decorating, trying to put the icing on the cookies or the gingerbread house or whatever.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, he's just eating the sprinkles by themselves. So it's usually a lost cause, but again, he's happy. So. Okay, let's get into the discussion proper then. Fire Emblem Engage. Paige, remind me, was this a game you had been looking forward to? You pre-ordered it. I know we did. We were talking about the game a little bit when we did the Metacritic kind of predictions, but
Yeah.
what was your kind of hype level, excitement level going into Engage before you started it?
I'd say relatively moderate because there was things like we'd seen. Like I guess I heard some things from people that were reviewing the game and things like that. like, well, yeah, I remember when I was first seeing some of the trailers, and you had like the engaged guys, and they like float sort of like ghosts and stuff. Well, I thought it was like
Yeah.
that was so weird. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this because how the character looks, but I think yeah, so I think it's just moderate. Like I figured, like from what I heard before it came out, the gameplay itself was good, the combat and that was good.
Hmm.
So yeah, not enough to pro to the special edition, but
Yeah, I mean, if you could even get it, I think it's been pretty hard. That's a pretty hard
um,
one to find as
I
well,
think it
right?
was kind of available in Australia for a bit
Oh, it
longer.
was
So
okay,
I guess a
cool.
lot of people were just like, oh, I don't really want an art book or not, for how much more I've got to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even remember what came with that other than an art book. Maybe like
Art cards, I
would it have
think.
tarot cards or playing cards or something like
That
that?
was a stock pre-order exclusive.
I see. Okay,
Did not come in Australia, and I tried to
gotcha.
get an American to get it for me, and they still didn't get any. So
Hmm. Yeah, I saw a mutual on Twitter had been waiting for a special edition to come, and I
yeah.
guess the shipping time said 2 weeks or something, and then they kind of canceled it at the last minute. So yeah, that's never fun. So yeah, moderate excitement level for Fire Emblem Engage. Okay, I started getting really excited as we got closer to I guess as soon as the calendar rolled over, and I'm like, oh, Fire Emblem's kind of like the first big game of 2023, and I really like Fire Emblem games. I wouldn't call myself like the biggest fan or something like that. Like I wouldn't I haven't been going back and playing them religiously or anything like that, but I do look forward to playing them at or around launch, playing them through, not necessarily going back to them, like I said, but yeah, enjoying them nonetheless. I was getting very excited about Fire Emblem Engage. Yeah, kind of as soon as we at NWR when we got our review code and
Yeah.
Matt Zawodniak was
Yeah.
reviewing the game for us. He was very excited about it, and I know he's a big Fire Emblem fan. For him to be excited about it, it's like, oh, okay,
Must
it
be good.
seems like a game made for Fire Emblem fans, right? And I
Yeah.
do think I am a Fire Emblem fan, so yeah, I started getting excited very much so before in the weeks kind of leading up to launch, and so I was pretty hyped for it. Now that I have it, I find myself kind of just wanting to savor it. Like I don't want to rush through it. I rush through so many games that I review just to get them done for embargo and to get videos done and stuff. So it's been nice to play Fire Emblem at a very very leisurely pace, like
Yeah.
almost one chapter, one battle per night. I've kind of been doing. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, some days I play more, but basically, I'm like, if I do one chapter a day, then I'll be done before the next game I have to pick up because there's like an entire month gap between game pickups for me for
Yeah,
once.
yeah. No, that's exactly what I've been thinking about. It's almost a month to Octopath Traveler 2 for me. And then it'll be a month after. It's a month later into March for Ryza 3, I think. Is that right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
my February pickups are going to be Like a Dragon Ishin and Kirby.
yes.
So
Okay. Oh, you're getting both. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm eager to see how Like a Dragon turns out. I from the trailers we've seen, it feels very combat-ish, and
yeah,
I don't love
it's
the that kind of
it's
combat
a
style from those games.
remake of a PS3 and 4 game that we didn't get.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that fact. I should
so
probably look into that game more to get a sense of whether I'm actually going to like this one or not. But yeah, anyways, maybe back on the Fire Emblem Engage
yes,
train. So it's so easy to get distracted.
yeah.
Why don't we touch on the story a little bit? Obviously, we're not talking about anything past
Why
chapter
why does
11,
the
but
dragon not have green hair?
I don't know.
All the
Oh,
dragons have green hair, and she has red and blue hair.
red and blue hair. You got to have red and
You
blue
know what's
hair.
so
It's
funny?
it's
Because this game's been like going on for a while, and I knew about it from someone. So that when those leaks came out, I already knew about it, and I knew that
yeah.
that was legit. But people are saying there's no way it's real. This looks like this and this because the way the character looks and all that stuff. And I'm like, can't wait till it is out. And they're like, yep, that is.
It did almost look like a mock-up or a fake just because it
Yeah.
was so, I mean, it's so colorful. And I think that's one of the things I love about the game is that it's so kind of fantastical in terms of its presentation, that it's just everyone's got a different color hair. It feels
I
like
don't know.
every time you meet a new character, they've got a different color hair you haven't seen before.
I don't know if I said it, but my baby really likes looking at Fire Emblem Engage videos because of
Oh,
all the color.
that's very cute. Yeah, no, yeah, I think babies really like seeing colors when they're very young, right? Like it's very stimulating to them.
And it was like a lot of the character design is by Pikazu, who does VTuber. models for people.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that
I
really
think we had
explains the
mentioned that
style.
artist
Yeah.
before, and it's a very striking style, and it definitely makes the game stand out for sure. In terms of the story, it doesn't like it's definitely not my like favorite element of the game. I think it's kind of
Mm.
just there, and it moves things
That's
along.
something I've heard a lot in the reviews.
Yeah.
Is that the characters are shallow, the story is generic. Alif, which is the main character, they kind of not like character wise, but I guess because of the voice acting and like stuff like that, they just come across kind of like Barbie to me. Like
Hmm.
they're just
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
could see
Alif.
that. I could
Yeah,
see that. I'm playing with a male Alir, so I guess we'll have different impressions slightly, maybe based on. I think the voice acting is okay. Like it's fine.
yeah.
It's not like selling the whole thing for me.
I know a
Um,
lot of people were saying, "Oh, this looks so anime," and then other people trying to say, "Oh, well, it's always been anime." Like, no, this really is super anime. Like from the introductory like cutscenes you get, and then they do the emblem summonings and all that. So it's a very much like the way the characters act and all that. It's very much like would fit into like a typical anime.
it's almost cheesy, you know, like
Yeah.
and I think they're really leaning into that. Like this is a not just a celebration of Fire Emblem as a series, but also almost a parody of it. You know, like it's almost kind of making fun of its own trappings or its own tropes and all the things that Fire Emblem kind of stands for. It's playing around with those and having fun with it, and I like that lighthearted aspect to it. Like it's drawing me in, actually, not taking itself so serious. Like Three Houses by comparison was quite serious, and
Yeah.
we'll talk more about Three Houses later. But yeah, certainly in the story, like it's kind of just there. It serves a purpose. It moves the action along. But I don't know. I mean, we're stopping at the end of chapter 11. There has been a little bit more kind of serious things happening around this point in the game, right?
Hmm. But it's yeah, the basic gist of the story is you versus the Fell Dragon. You've been asleep for 1,000 years for as long as the Fell Dragon has been imprisoned or sealed away for. But it's not just after you wake up, they're back again. I don't think it's a spoiler to say you end up with a dead mum because
Yeah, no, it's
I
like
saw that everywhere before I played.
the first 30 minutes of the game, pretty
It's
much, right?
generic Fire Emblem thing. You have a dead
Yeah,
parent. You have one parent and they're not there anymore.
yeah,
Um, and then so there are these 12 emblem rings, which are heroes from different worlds that you used last time to defeat the Fell Dragon, and also every 1,000 years you can use them all to do a power. So like the last time the power was used to seal that guy, and you're going from country to country trying to collect the emblem rings.
right. Yes, exactly. Um, yeah, I mean that's a pretty good synopsis. I wouldn't add anything more to that. I think that it seems like kind of I don't know how many chapters are in the game in total. It does feel like we're
Um,
maybe a third of the way through the game, a
I
third
think
or
it
forty
was
percent
30
ish.
something.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, about a third then. I imagine that there's going to be more kind of serious things happening from this point forward, just based on the events of chapter 10. Chapter 10 is um, incredibly difficult. I found that to be a huge difficulty spike compared to earlier in the
What
game.
like difficulty modes and that are you playing on?
Classic and hard, and I
Okay.
don't know. I don't normally play hard. I normally play normal.
Mm.
But I found like the last few Fire Emblem games just too easy on normal, so I switched up hard to hard. I think that's kind of the right place for me. I'm kind of I'm comfortable, but I'm also like again chapter 10 like was very scary, and I lost my first characters. I kept everyone until that point, and um, I'd forgotten that you don't have unlimited rewinds of time. I guess I just wasn't even
Yeah,
thinking about it. I was kind of rewinding time willy nilly just to get perfect situations to come up. But
yeah. So I think one of the main differences for normal is that you just rewind whenever you want, which is very
right,
funny.
sure,
When my main character died, and like it just instead of going to a game over screen, it rewinds for you automatically, and I'm like,
yes,
hey,
that's right.
what?
It does the same thing in hard, at least while you have charges, I guess. But
Yeah,
I imagine once the charges have run out, if you get a legit game over at that point.
yeah.
So I've yet to
I
see that happen. But
I play normal classic,
yeah.
although I have rewound cheat a couple times. Um, it's really good for when I misclick, like when I heal the person that does not need
Oh sure, yeah.
it. But I like these kind of games, but I'm not very smart at them. So I was like, I don't. And like one time, I thought it was a talk to character, like where you get
Hmm.
the green exclamation point, but it was a yellow one, which so I just moved a bunch of people around to talk to someone that I can't talk to.
It's hard to see the icons sometimes on the
Yeah,
characters, right? Like I appreciate that detail that you do get to see like a little bit extra information about them, but it is kind of hard to see exactly what the interaction is, or if they're holding an item or whatever. It's not, you got to zoom in a little bit almost to see what's going on there.
yeah. It's like I would prefer having it limited a bit more because I do like to play classic, and well, I guess partly because I'm more motivated to keep people alive because I don't want to lose my XP if
Sure.
they're out for the fight. And yeah, some of the we'll get to it later, but some of the fights where you just got to take out that one person. So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
still trying to see if I can take them out first, but I take out all the other guys just so I can get some more XP.
I feel like
Um,
when I was playing Triangle Strategy, I feel like I spent so many battles just like or even a Tactics Ogre. Sorry, was more like a Tactics Ogre Reborn. Most of the battles, I think you win, especially late game, you win just by eliminating one character. So I'd literally just throw everything at the kitchen sink just to get and the kitchen sink just to get to that one character. It's funny to be able to do it here too, I guess, but
yeah,
I guess you got to be a little bit more careful if you're playing on Classic.
yeah.
Um, can we get into some of the characters? Who do you like so far? Who's kind of stood out to you? Who do you absolutely detest? I'm sure there's some people that you just can't stand to this point. I know I'm there too.
I like Inaka.
Yep, she's great.
She says funny things. She's
Yeah,
great. She's useful with the poisoning skills. I like Etier for combat wise, just like a good archer.
yeah,
I like Chloe is very good for both combat and personality, and
right.
she kills someone, and it was like you were beautiful while you lasted. Has this like fairy tale obsession, which is really funny.
Hmm.
I think that would be the main ones. Yeah.
I Etier, I just lost her. She just died in my playthrough, so
Oh,
I'm moving on from her. It's too bad. She had a long bow and she was a badass, but it's unfortunate to lose her. But I'm gonna keep pushing forward. I like Yunaka a lot. Her kind of emblem ability to heal everybody on the battlefield while sacrificing her health is super helpful.
I haven't
Just
used
a
it yet, but
it's
I think that
just a crazy ability. I would
yeah,
imagine that'd be super helpful late game if you put that emblem on her. Who else would I like? Lewis or Louis,
yeah,
the strong guy, the knight, or what do they call that? Like a juggernaut kind of class. I'm trying to think what
armored.
I remembering all the class types and their names. Yeah, I guess armor type. Yeah, I like having him around. Like I use him a lot. I found he's been like the MVP of a bunch of battles for me, just because I put him in the front line and he just
Mm.
absorbs a bunch of punishment.
Yeah,
I like
see,
Celine. I like Celine's. I just found her very powerful. She's
uh,
gaining very effective levels for me. Like she's gaining a lot of stats in level up. So I've been kind of pushing her a lot,
I
hoping to get her
use
to.
I think clan is my main magic user, so
Okay, yeah.
they give up good times.
Yeah, see, I dropped those. The first three characters you get are Vander, Clan, and
Yeah,
Fram.
yeah, I've kept clan, but the other two are like,
I
like
dropped them all pretty early, actually. Like
yeah.
they were fine, but I'm just like, oh, the introduction characters are not ones I want to stick with. I wanted to, just I guess experiment a little bit with
Well,
the party
that's the
members.
sensible thing. Everyone says, don't put your levels into Van. Like, don't let him
Yeah,
do it for everything because he's the
exactly. Yeah,
he's the trope of the really strong character to help you through the start, but he's not going to be useful later on.
that's right. Yeah, so that paladin type character who's super overpowered, you can use them for defense maybe, but you don't want to be feeding them much experience. You got to save that for other
I've
people.
had other things as storm skirmishes or something, and then like they all attack one guy like Alfred or something, and then he
Yeah.
gets up with the experience, and I'm like, no, you're supposed to, because he just kills them all in the counter attack, and I'm like, no,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, please don't do this. Stop attacking
no, like
people.
I'm gonna reset matches just to get the XP right, not even to save someone's life.
That's right.
I've been normally I with the classic and stuff. I normally would like leave people to die, but
Yeah.
I know a couple of times I've just been like no. Especially I'll talk about DLC later, but that one I rewound so
Have you
much. I'm like,
been have you been now I don't know how many, I'm trying to think how many paralogs have come up for us to this point. I think I've only seen one, maybe two.
okay, so there's one to get John, there's one
Yeah,
to
so I've
get
got
Anna, and then now we're starting to unlock the emblems are getting paralogs. So there's one I've unlocked, but I'm not the level for it yet, which is
right.
Lucina's
Okay,
has
yeah.
come up.
So
It's on the other side of the map after you
gotcha.
go up
Okay.
to.
Yeah,
Um,
so I funny. I feel like in other Fire Emblem games that you get the paralogs more regularly, or that there's more of them, or something. Maybe I'm
yeah.
sure there'll be more later, but it just feels like they haven't been unlocking at a very steady clip. Like
Mm.
again, we've only done a handful so far.
But I think every other chapter I'm getting new characters. I'm like, I actually think I'm going to just start letting people die because I
Yeah,
can't
there's a
balance
lot
it.
of characters.
I can't balance 6p across everybody, man. There's too there's
It
too many,
it
and then
does
this
feel like that. Yeah.
and then the skirmishes come up and they're all high. I'm like, why is it this high level? And then it's because the newest characters I picked up are like a few levels above everybody else, and I'm like,
Okay. Okay.
thanks a lot, guy.
Yeah.
You're
It's
level
funny.
17, and I've got people that like 12 and 13.
I haven't, yeah, I haven't done any of the skirmishes so far. Like, I'm waiting till like I absolutely need to grind to do any grinding. I'm just trying to play the battles, I guess, carefully
I've
and
been doing it
maximize experience. But
because when you get to the Somnial and you do the arena training, which is like,
right,
if you don't do anything else in the Somnial, just do the arena training because it's some free XP. But like doing the skirmishes resets your ability to do that.
right, okay, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, see, that's another thing in Somniel I haven't, and we'll start talking about Somniel in a minute. I haven't done the arena yet. I haven't really explored
Oh,
a
you
lot of
really?
the like
I'm gonna have
extra
to tell you
stuff.
all
I
about
do the
it.
strength training. I do the strength training before the push ups or the sit ups or whatever, just to get that little bonus and to get a few extra ring points or whatever they're called. But yeah, why don't we that seems like a good time. Why don't we move into, we'll come back to combat, but let's talk about Somnia a little bit. What do we think of that as a home base? Like how do you enjoying it so far?
I like it. I think, like a lot of people pointed out, a lot of the activities are very useless. Like, I've
Mm,
unlocked all of them now. The fishing, I've unlocked, and I'm happy to unlock that, but I'm having trouble getting anything other than the exact same fish. I've
right,
unlocked
right.
wyvern riding. That gives you some little items, and what's the other one? That's kind of, yeah. The strength training is like these mini games, and you get like a +1 to dex or something for one match. So it's like
Yep.
it's a lot of effort for temporary buff. So
Yes.
I don't do that one that much. I do pretty. I think I've probably got more of a playtime because I do actively go in the Somniel and do most of the things. But yeah, the some of the mini games and stuff, they're kind of just like whatever. But
Yeah.
definitely, like, yeah, if you don't do anything else, go to the arena because you can do 3 matches and then pump a little bit of extra XP into a character. And then there's also the emblem training, so you can use bond points to get them to immediately like level up their bond with an emblem to like rank 5, so then they can do skill inheritance and stuff. So
Right.
you can make them bond with somebody without having to actually put them on the field with that character, and then that can be useful because I've got some more archer focused emblems now, so I'm just spamming the bond point because basically the skills you inherit, and some of these skills don't stack if you've got the ring like that character equipped.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing is that putting these useful skills that can't stack if I've got them onto other characters that don't use that emblem because
Okay.
then they're getting the benefit of it. And yeah, that's just depends on how many points like bond fragments you have, which is definitely why you should see Somi and pet and feed Somi because you'll get bond fragments. You also get bond fragment, yeah, from running around the place, and also the post battle things where you talk to people. I go through the pain of talking to everyone just in case I get more bone fragments.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if you have to talk to people because you get some when you leave the space as well. Like,
Yeah,
does it give you the ones you missed when you just leave? Like, did you
I
have to?
don't
I like talking to
know.
everybody anyway, so it doesn't take too long. But I
It
thought I
does if
read
they're in a
somewhere that
weird spot on the map.
you guess you when you're running around the stage after the battle, you can also pick up some items or some resources, I guess, too. So that's kind of useful. And of course, you have to recruit all or adopt all the pets, right? Like
um,
you have to bring as
yeah.
many pets back as you
Well,
can.
I just use the dogs because the dogs give you ingots
Right. Okay, that's very helpful.
and
Yeah.
like steel, like they give you medals. So the rest of the guys, I don't care. I just fill the yard up with dogs.
You
That's
don't want to have like 99 milk, 99 eggs, 99
no.
wheat, whatever the other
I
ones are.
barely even do the cooking. Like that's just to build the bonding up and stuff. And
Yeah,
I like that there's clothing, but you can only wear it in the Somniel, so it's kind of like whatever.
that's right. Yeah, what's the
Yeah.
point? Uh,
And then there's I do like that we still have an amiibo gazebo, but then yeah, those clothes can only be worn on certain characters, only in
mhm.
the Somniel. So it's like okay,
I've been
It's a
meaning to
bit,
try that out too. I forgot because I do have a bunch of Fire Emblem amiibo that I actually took out of the box, so I
yeah,
should try
yeah,
them out
you
just to
do see
see.
them.
Is it just outfits for them, or do you get any other
Yeah, but
bonuses?
you don't get the out like well, you get tickets to buy the outfits. You can't see
Oh, I
the
see.
outfits until you have that emblem, so it won't show
Right.
you
Okay.
the
Gotcha.
option. But only
Cool.
like certain characters can wear them. It's not even all of them.
Okay.
Um,
Good to know.
and you unlock songs, which I was like, why can't I change the song in the cafe? And it's like, no, it's for the songs when you do the online multiplayer.
Oh,
That's yeah,
that's a funny restriction, eh?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll take some. I guess I'll take some amiibo functionality over none, even if it's
And
hard to use it.
and then I make sure to do the save scumming for the ring gacha in the because
Yeah.
we'll
You
get
you
into it
sh-
soon in the combat, but like, so you've got the emblem rings, which are the one, like there's 12 total, like you don't have them all immediately, obviously, throughout the game where it's like this
mhm.
character and all these abilities, but there's these bond rings you can make with your bond fragments where they're basically just a couple extra stat points, so you pop them on people that don't have an emblem. But some of the S rank ones do come with a special ability. So like
Mhm.
one I got was like Great Thunder, and there is sort of a save scumming trick you can do because basically every time you start a battle, the ring pool refreshes. So when you pull up 10, if you get an S rank one, then instead you can like go back to and load and then just call as many times as you want if it's not number 10, so you don't have to spend all your one fragments. Plus, it's the same letter, like different characters in the different pools because it's like
Mhm.
bond rings under Marth or bond rings under Celica. But if you get an S rank in one of them, then you can load and call from that other character and you'll get an S rank in that same spot.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's how
right.
you can chase around trying to get the ones that have a special ability.
You shared that video of how to do that kind of save scumming trick to get the S class rings. I did it maybe 12 or 15 times. I didn't see an S class once. Are they just super rare? Did I do it at the wrong time? I don't know
um,
how easy it's supposed to be.
because I've forgotten about like three,
I haven't seen one, and I've probably
so
rolled like
maybe you're not
25
doing
to
it.
30 times.
It could be really bad luck, or you could not be
Yeah.
saving at the right time because you've got to go into a map you haven't beaten yet,
Yeah.
and then save once you've left it.
Yeah, I did that. I did that with I think chapter 8. I don't remember which battle it was, but I remember doing that because that's where I was. I guess just when you shared that video, I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'll try it. I'll try it with whatever the next battle is. I guess chapter 12. When that one starts, I'll go through the story part, the cutscenes, and then exit the battle. Give it another try. Do another 10 or 12 tries. Maybe I just maybe my timing was off, or yes, it could be very bad luck. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But inevitably, I will get an S class ring. They seem quite strong. Some of those abilities seem really powerful.
Hmm. But yeah, there's only a few of those class ones actually have an ability, but it's just very useful when not every character has an emblem ring or do the DLC a bracelet.
Yeah, right.
uh,
Exactly.
but yeah, the thumbnails are right. A lot of the activities it's just like you don't really need to bother with, but definitely do the arena just to
Hmm.
get that XP bonus, and then try to get some bond rings things. Yeah, definitely do the bond training because, like I said, then you can build up the bond level with characters that don't have that person equipped, and then they can get these skills, and then you can put a ring on them, and then it can only equip two of the inherited skills at a time, though. So.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Like Somnial, like is fine. It's not like this expansive place to explore. I felt like the areas of Three Houses were a little bit more interesting. I liked was it Awakening that had base building or was that Fates? I don't remember.
Fates had the My
Yeah,
Castle.
I
I
did
like
did
the
like
fish
that.
lady a lot better than Submy appearance
Yeah,
wise.
there you go. Um,
Oh yeah, you've also got a weird thing where people can wake you up, but like you don't.
oh yes,
It's
that's very
like
weird.
almost like a face painting replacement, but it's just sort of like a weird thing that someone comes in and tries to wake you up by talking at you, and I'm like, okay,
I'm like
sure,
Vander, just
yeah,
the older paladin, just let me go back to sleep. Like
yeah.
why are you in my room right now? Like what's the point?
Well, yeah, they
I,
got to
I think
make
I
sure
did it
you
once
don't.
or twice and then
They
I
got to
gave
make
up on
sure
it.
you don't go into a coma again.
Yes, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Sleep for another 1,000 years. Yeah. Okay. So why don't we start talking a little bit about combat? Combat, I think, is I don't know about you, Paige. I think combat's the highlight of this game. I think it's
Yeah,
some of the best that Fire Emblem has ever had. I think the maps so far are really fun. Using the emblem powers, all the
yeah,
things that are on the maps to pick up.
yeah.
Every
Sometimes I'm
environment's
risking
really
myself
cool.
to try and pick up some
Oh, totally. Yeah, and I think that's the point,
little
right? They're almost put
little
in
crumbs.
pickups are almost put in spaces to put you in danger, right? Like there's that risk
Yeah.
reward thing going on there. Yeah.
Supposedly, it's based on the online connection of whether someone's died there or killed an enemy there, but I don't know.
Right.
I
But
don't know.
that could make sense, right? That okay, that's a dangerous spot. That's why they died. So if you go there, it's gonna be dangerous
Yeah,
for you
there's
too.
the map. You know the map where you can't see without like the torches, or
Yes, yes, yes. That's right.
John had an loom, so that was useful. But uh, I did a skirmish on that map later, and
Hmm.
you could see just a line of like, I can't know if it's the purple ones or the ones where someone died or was successful, but like it's just a line of
Yeah.
those purple ones, and I was like,
Okay,
oh,
that's funny.
there must be enemies that way.
That's it reminded me as soon as I saw it, it reminded me of Dark Souls because Dark Souls, when you die, you leave behind like a if you're connected online, you leave behind like a kind of
The
a puddle of
bloodstain.
blood, right? A blood stain, and then people can see your character. Like a hologram of your character kind of pop up from the bloodstain, and you get to see how they died. It's kind of the same thing, right? Like, so if you see a bunch of bloodstains in one spot in Dark Souls,
Yeah,
you know it's very either there's an enemy hiding nearby, or maybe it's a place where people are getting raided or something like that, or just a very tricky spot. Maybe you fall off a cliff quite easily there.
yeah,
So I like elements like that where they. I think that's a very kind of innocuous online connection addition to the game, like a feature.
yeah.
I love seeing that little bit of interactivity online that's not intrusive at all. It's not really going to change your gameplay experience all that much, but it's kind of fun to see that.
Yeah, yeah, combat is typical Fire Emblem. They added the weapon triangle back. They
Yeah,
have removed so they don't your weapons don't break anymore. So you
that's
can end
right.
up with a
Yeah.
lot of extra weapons to
except
just
for except for
but
magic healing staves, right?
yeah.
Healing
And
staves
then I know
do
you
have limited
you can't
uses.
repair them, you just gotta buy them back
You
and
gotta
it's
buy
like
a new one. Yeah.
but there is the break state. So basically, if you've got the type advantage and you hit hard enough, you can break the character so they drop their weapons and can't counterattack until like it's
Hmm.
their turn, and then they can pick up the weapon again and strike. So you got to be really pay attention to the type advantage, otherwise you're gonna get ganked
No,
basically.
for sure. Yeah, it's nice to see that back. I like that element of Fire Emblem that that you have to kind of consider. Who's if you're splitting your forces into two parties, like you want to have like a sword, an axe, and a lance user on each side. Just so you have that balance. You want to make sure that, or if you have characters that can equip multiple types of weapons, some of the emblem ring abilities, they're super powerful. There'll be like one where like you can change a weapon, or you can use a weapon that you normally like a sword user would
Yeah.
be
So
weak to
like
lance, but you've got a guy who can
yeah,
break
one that's
lances
different.
pretty much, right? So that's pretty cool
Um,
as a sword user.
And there's say yeah, so there's like Micaiah. So if someone has Micaiah equipped, they can use a staff even if they don't have staff proficiency. But yeah,
Hmm.
the rings are like one per person, and
Yeah.
you start with the emblem meter engaged or engage meter. So then you can engage. So for 3 turns, you've got the bonus buff or whatever,
Hmm.
and you can use an emblem attack, which you get one per each time you go into engage mode. And then yeah, that depends. Like we talked about the Great Sacrifice one. There's one where you can shoot a bow from really far away.
Yeah.
Or like here, one of the first ones you get to see it, Celica, it's like you warp far away and can like zap someone with magic.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one. Another
Yeah,
reason why I like that character so much is just
yeah.
her ability to traverse a huge portion of the map, or like go across barriers or
It's like
water or
get back here,
whatever.
thief. Just
Or she's really helpful if you want to join like a character you need to recruit. Like
yeah,
if you want to protect those kind of non-party characters yet that will join your team after. Presumably, she can get pretty far away to go and kind of protect them, I guess. Right. So I like her for that too.
hmm. So they're very useful. And like I said, you can also inherit their skills. And in the maps, there'll be like puddles you can stand in to instantly bring back the engage meter, but doing a few tries in combat will also bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
And throughout the story, the enemies also get the emblem characters. but they don't have an engage meter, so they can just keep spamming the engage attack if they meet the parameters for it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very doesn't seem very fair, but
Yeah.
I guess that's just part of the challenge you got to deal with. You definitely want to save your emblem meter. Like if you've got it, you don't necessarily want to use it on the kind of basic enemies. You want to save it for like the enemy player characters who are actually named characters, because they can hit really hard. I don't know if other Fire Emblem games have done it very much, but there's a thing with some of the boss characters where you have to take their life meter down multiple times, right? They have like a little
Yeah.
heart or kind of gem thing attached to
And
them.
then instead of just having one really big health bar, so it basically stops you from, like, if you get a massive critical or something, it still doesn't count towards, like, it just brings them to zero and then refills the
That's
health,
right. And
so
then
you
they
can't,
get all
like,
their health back
yeah.
again.
So
Yeah.
you have to use more people.
Yeah,
I'm
you kind of have
really
to bring
sure.
like 5 or 6 people
Yeah.
into close combat or close proximity with them to take them out. So
Um,
that can be pretty dangerous too, right?
I'm not sure how common it is in the other Fire Emblem games, other than in Three Houses, you had the monsters you had to, like, break their
Yes, right.
shield with, like, different types of attacks and stuff. So that was basically a similar.
Similar mechanic for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think combat really stands out here. I
That you would
even
hope
even
it
just
does.
the perspective, like even just seeing the combat play out, I think the
Yeah,
animations
I
are all really
love
cool.
what I like about the when you beat a battle, then you can run around the map, so you can actually see that the entire map is modeled. And, like, I was
That's
like, oh
right.
man,
Yeah.
imagine Fire Emblem in, like, the Valkyria Chronicles perspective. Like,
Yeah, no, that is what it feels like, and it's kind of a nice like um break after like a potentially stressful combat scenario. Is well, okay, let's walk on the map, talk to everybody, pick up some items, adopt some pets. It's a very light kind of way, a cool down period, I suppose, between like either more heavy story beats or like again a very taxing or stressful combat situation where any wrong move, even just moving one tile the wrong way, could be the difference between life and death for your characters. Fire Emblem's always been very good at that, right? That feeling of, I can't make if I make the wrong move here, if I attack and I don't succeed, and I play the percentages, but fail, like I could lose someone who I'm really attached to. So you always have that push and pull, that kind of stress, I guess, during combat, which is it's nice, it's fun.
I guess because I'm playing on normal, which definitely does. Sometimes it feels a bit easy. I'm
Hmm.
like, maybe I should play on hard, but then I'm like, well, I can always play the game a second time when I know more of the
Oh, totally.
systems,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm in over my head with what I gotta, because now people recommend in this one to just start classing again at level 10,
Oh,
because
okay.
you don't like level cap basically, or like you
Hmm.
can reclass continually to keep getting points. There's no need to wait to power up. And
Right. Yeah, that makes
one
sense.
thing I didn't tell you about was, like, you can engrave weapons as well with the emblem power.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so you
I did
can
see that.
do that. But yeah, when it comes to, like, I do the like auto equipment optimize, and it gets really annoying because none of the healing characters get like a vulnerate. I'm like, give them a vuln. They can't heal themselves. They need
Yeah.
a healing potion, especially like John's got the chain guard, so it takes a hit, it can't do it again
Hmm.
unless it's full health. So I get a little annoyed at me trying to actually then fix the inventory again. And yeah, going through there's just there's a lot of things where I need to, before it gets too hard again, sort through the
Hmm.
classes, like, and then I need to look at what the proficiencies are. Like, that's why I've got to do some of the bonding levels, because
Right.
you
Yes.
need proficiencies in a couple of classes before you can level up. And if they haven't got the bond, like, the only way for them to get that in this game is through the bond levels with the emblems.
I
With it.
feel like in terms of bonding with like the other characters, like opening up like the support conversations, I feel like that's also been very slow. Like again, maybe we're just very early in the game, but I
Mm,
think I have a couple of level Bs and maybe two
yeah.
or three level Cs. But normally it's been a lot faster, kind of doing that in other games. I don't know if you found that kind of slow
Yeah,
here.
I'll be like, oh, I have a bunch of support conversations I haven't noticed, because it's just and yeah, they're all kind of. A couple of them have been interesting, but not that much. And then there's the
Yeah,
one
yeah,
conversations, which are literally two sentences.
that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So there's
I want to
no.
see more of those. I know that there are, you can't see it in the when you're actually like leveling up the bond levels or the support levels. But
Yeah.
there are S class relationships, I believe, right? So I
I
do want to get to some of those.
maybe the main. I think it could be like three houses where it's like you sort of propose to them and you don't get it to the end of the game.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It could be that. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
I
one
do want to
thing that
see
hasn't
how that
been
goes.
in,
But
like, I
yeah,
actually learned recently, because in Awakening and then in Fates they had the baby making aspect.
that's right.
I learned that that's not actually that. Awakening is not the first game that did that.
I mean, an earlier Fire Emblem game did that.
Yeah.
Okay, which one was
One
that?
of the ones that didn't get English.
Hmm.
That's from based on a video that I've watched. I think it's the case that in genealogy of the Holy War, I think there's a second generation or something. So
Okay, cool.
you have that similar matchup concept. It's like, oh, because like I think a lot of people thought that was sort of a Awakening thing, which in Awakening it was cool because it was a time travel concept, and then in Fates it was like a weird that they shouldn't have done it. The story way they explained it was terrible.
I
Like
guess given the title
abandoned their kid.
genealogy, it kind of makes sense that you would have
Yeah.
something like that, right? So yeah, that
And then
makes
that maybe makes more sense. I don't know who, because I don't know about stories, but like you talk to Sigurd and he's like, someone else that's an emblem is like, I'm a relative of an emblem. And I'm
yes,
like,
that's right. That's right. I remember
who?
that. Yeah.
Who are you related to?
Let's figure this out. Let's draw the whole Fire
No,
Emblem
yeah,
family
no, he
tree
said
right
something
now.
about like a kid and dying and stuff. And I was like, what?
Hmm.
Like, are the emblems in heaven? Are they from heaven? And that's why it doesn't
Right.
matter that, like, that's why they're hanging out for 1,000 years, or
Yeah. Yeah.
we're just having a nap. Yeah.
Speaking of other Fire Emblem games, this is probably a good time to compare this to Three Houses because these are the two Fire Emblem mainline entries on Switch now, and probably I don't know that there may be another spin-off or a remaster type of game come to Switch as well, but this could also be
We
just
could
the only two
definitely
Fire
do
Emblem
with
games we get.
remasters because there's so many we don't have. So,
Yeah, exactly. Even just GameCube kind of re-releases of
mm.
the
I just
sorry,
want that to
one
save some
GameCube
money.
re-release, and then there's the Wii game as well. I could see those somehow making their way over to Switch with maybe just a little bit of polishing or touching up. But I'd be surprised if in the next few years we didn't get something like Shadows of Valencia, right? Like you feel like that did fairly well or was
I think
definitely well
that was the
received.
worst selling of the new Fire Emblem.
Was it? Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's tough to go back though, right? It's tough to go
yeah,
back when you're kind of going forward. And I don't know, I really liked that game. I think
I
Casey
did.
really liked it too. But
Yeah.
I do like that way of bringing forward some of the old games is the way they did that there. But yeah. So no, I want to talk about how does Engage compare to Three Houses. I think we've both finished at least one route of Three Houses. Paige, did you do more than one?
No, I did not. I haven't even done
Okay.
the DLC. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, neither have I. Okay, so what do you think about Engage after playing Three Houses? Do you like one more or the other? What are your feelings there?
I think Engage looks a lot prettier than three.
Hmm.
Not just the
There's.
like the visuals are they know what they can do with the Switch now. It looks a lot better.
Hmm.
And I think because this one, as far as we know, doesn't have too much help from Koei Tecmo
Hmm.
because I say a lot of the battle systems are different. Like they got rid of the weapon triangle for that game, which is actually what got me to pick it up because I'm just like I don't like the triangle thing.
Yeah.
At least with the break system now, it's been interesting. But they had the battalions in Three Houses, so that
Hmm.
was very much like the warrior sort of influence of having a big group of people rushing, and I kind of liked the combat arts and stuff like that. Although if you have the DLC, you kind of almost get that with
Hmm.
one. But I think they're both good. It is, yeah, but things are different. So, for example, with the emblems, bonding with the emblems is the only way to inherit skills and help towards your classing proficiency. Whereas in Three Houses, it was you were teaching them, so you were building them
That's
up
right.
towards being a certain class. So it was a bit more like you were definitely doing it rather than you got to remember to do
Hmm.
that.
I mean I liked Three Houses kind of premise that you are a teacher at a school and you're kind of teaching your students how to be better warriors, how to be better fighters, archers, what have you. You're improving their skills in the classroom. Like it was a cool conceit, and I think it worked out well. But yeah, I think that is something that I noticed right away. Kind of visually, the presentation, like it was very bland in Three
Mm,
Houses compared to this one, right? A lot of browns, yellows, greens, and
yeah.
but here just so many bright, kind of vibrant colors in terms of the characters, the environments, the cutscenes. Like there's just so much more going on from an
Although
art style perspective, I'd
I
say.
do like the character design, I think, of Three Houses more, I guess because it
Hmm.
was more serious, very serious plot. And I definitely, not that I played it, but I did like that there was multiple um, routes to play in the game.
Hmm.
Whereas this one, as far as I'm aware, is just a standard one story.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's what someone mentioned. We're talking about it, like the outfits the characters wear in the thumbnail in this game. They're like very anachronistic.
Hmm.
They just go, yeah,
Yes,
I'm just in a hoodie and sneakers, whatever.
that's right. That's right. I speaking of the multiple routes in Three Houses, like I think that was a really cool thing to be able to kind of choose your house, right? Like
Hmm.
it reminded me, it's
I
almost like a
think,
little bit Harry Potter-ish, like choose your house and that's the one you're going to be with for the rest of the game. And of course, you could bring characters from other houses to yours and
yeah,
eventually kind of amalgamate them all together. But yeah, I mean, I liked that opening much more than kind of the standard opening of
yeah.
Engage, which just doesn't really stand out.
No, I think that no, I forgot what I was. Yeah, the reason why I feel like there's too many characters is because in Three Houses you just have them from the start.
Hmm, yeah,
If you want extra people, you go get them. That's Whereas this, it's like, here's my team that I go, oh, no, there's just some more people, and
that's right.
now I've got characters that are ahead of my level, and these are the guys that will blow me.
There were a lot of fun interactions between the characters in Three Houses though. Like you did kind of
Yeah,
feel like a team, like a faction,
yeah,
Like there was that tight knit kind of like, oh, these characters know each other from before. Like they almost have like a history, and you're kind of learning that as you go.
mm,
But you don't really get that with Engage, right? Like you
not
pick
much.
up the characters kind of more standard as you go,
Yeah,
and you get to know them a little bit, kind of one on one. But they don't necessarily feel like they're all interacting with one another as much,
yeah.
outside of the support conversations that you open up for them.
Mm. I think they're both good games. I can't say that one's necessarily better than the other. It's just that they've changed things in the different entries, which
Yeah,
makes sense to do.
I think that's well put. I agree with you. I wouldn't put one over the other. I at least kind of
I,
trying to be objective about it. I think they're both quality games. It's just which type of Fire Emblem do you prefer? Do you prefer like the storytelling and the environment and the maybe the characterization stuff like that a little bit more? You might prefer Three Houses, but if you really get into the combat and I guess cut maybe not customizing your characters, but just kind of using them to their strengths and really having to strategize on the battlefield and beforehand. Engage seems a little bit more engaging in that regard, I'd say. But both great games for sure. Um, Paige, did you want to talk a little bit about Tower of Trials and the DLC? These are things
yeah.
that I haven't really looked into yet. So,
So Tower of Trials is on the Somnium, and there's like two things you can do on it that you need. I don't know how you earn the tickets, but you need tickets to do them. There's the relay battles where you go in on this map and then you do two turns of the battle, and then someone else takes over. And
hmm,
I couldn't join. There wasn't any random ones to join, so I just started a battle myself and had people die immediately.
right, yeah,
I was like, well, there's a lot of enemies, and you're supposed to beat it in like 10 turns, so like within 5 people, and you only get 4 units, and then you can go to the spots to unlock more unit spots. So then the next person, they can summon, I guess, some of their characters. Uh, so I don't know if anyone's going to do a successful run out of my start, but that is an interesting thing. It's just you get a little bit of a benefit, and then if it's successful, you get more reward.
hmm,
And I haven't played the multiplayer battles, but that's basically like you build your half of the map and you pick your units, and then you'll verse the other person on their half of the map with their units. I think that's how it works.
So you're not playing against an AI; you're actually playing against a human player. Is that right?
I think so. I haven't done an
Okay,
online match
okay,
though, but
cool.
like it looks like you do your half of the map. It could be that, but I think that
Yeah, that's cool.
there's
That's cool. I mean, I'd be interested in checking that out for sure, just because it's kind of
because I
novel.
think, yeah,
But
if you can save the map and stuff, it might also just be like, yeah, an AI preset of your guys as
mhm,
well.
mm,
And then the DLC in this game, so you get some DLC emblems, but they are bracelets, not rings, which
mm.
is very funny because there is a point in the game where you can't use some of your emblems, but the DLC characters don't count. So
Oh, okay, interesting.
I only had one of them because you get the three houses one just by stepping on Lookout Ridge if you've got
Hmm.
the season pass. And that's an interesting one where it's Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, and it'll switch between the three of them. And it's really funny because it'll be like it'll say you're born level with Edelgard's up to level 10, but it's the same thing. It's the same skill thing, and that
Hmm.
it's just in combat. Whichever one randomly is shown up will be like give you the option to do like a shield gambit or a fire gambit or something. So whoever's like rolled with you is who like what skill you get, but you still get to pick out of their three different engage attacks.
It sounds like Pokemon Trainer from
Yeah,
Smash Bros. A little bit, just
yeah,
having the three of them like that, like all
yeah,
different types. Yeah,
pretty much.
that's
And
cool.
then there is one DLC map, which is the one used to get Tiki and also a silver card to get a
Mm.
30% discount, which you actually have to use the warp stuff you find in the map to get to because it's actually in like a spot in the map you can't even fly over it because you can't fly over the walls. So
That's right.
yeah, you
Yeah,
need to teleport to grab it. And that's the one where I cheated by rewinding a bunch of times because Anna kept getting knocked.
unbelievable, Paige. Yeah,
Tiki's Tiki's very tough, and like the reinforcements keep coming. Like they just
that
somebody,
that's all paid DLC,
I
right? Like that's not
that's
like a free kind of
no,
bonus map
that's
or
paid
something.
DLC.
Okay, okay, gotcha,
So yeah, that's like a whole map you do to get her, and then that. So the three houses one you just got to pay for it, but like
gotcha.
Tiki you've got to pay and play.
Cool.
And then it like I'll show it off a bunch of other routes, but I can't go to them because the DLC is not out yet. So it's like I think there's at least going to be another 5 or so DLC maps based on like it's just started building the roads to the other spots.
I mean, Fire Emblem is a little bit notorious for just having lots of paid DLC, right? Like you can go
Like
back to some of them; they have so many extra
Shadows of
maps you can buy,
Valentia
right?
Day One DLC
Yeah.
costs more than the game.
Oh gosh, that's a
Yeah, the
lot.
DLC for this is a bit better priced, other than we don't know what is in all of it yet. But
Yes, that's right.
so the DLC for Three Houses was like a whole extra mini chapter. Plus, you could get the characters in your normal route. So I think that was good. I just didn't play it because it came out at a bad time for me.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's the fourth route of Three Houses, right? Like
yeah.
the yeah, it sounded very interesting, and I'd like to if I do go back to Three Houses, I think I still have the physical cartridge. I would probably go back and do that
Well,
fourth route because
if
it
we have
sounded
if we ever
enticing.
have a gap between games for once, we like this year not so much, but like we
You're
could.
not even speaking English right now. I don't even know what that is. Like a gap between games that doesn't exist. Doesn't
Well, we
compute.
could do an episode on DLC of the
That's right. Yes, that's actually a really good
yeah,
idea. A good
yeah,
excuse to go back and play some old games. And I think that's an interesting question. Like, how worth it is to buy a DLC. Like,
yeah.
do you buy season passes? When do you buy them? All those kind of questions would be
But yeah,
fun
if
to play around with.
you the Tiki one scales to your level, so I'd recommend doing it pretty early on so that you have
Right.
her pretty early on rather than um yeah me doing
It's good advice for people that buy the DLC.
yeah
For me, like if it went on sale, I'd consider it. I'm surprised
yeah
that Fire Emblem don't do maybe because there's too much DLC, but they don't do like a Game of the Year edition. Nintendo just doesn't
yeah
do that very much
no
themselves. But like a Game of the Year edition
um
where like, they have all the
with
DLC.
the no expansion pack, I'm kind of surprised some of the third party games don't have the because they put the Animal Crossing DLC and the booster course on the expansion pack, but then they also retroactively put the Splatoon 2 DLC on the
That's
expansion pack,
right. Yeah.
and my sister was able to play it. And but they haven't done it for like Fire Emblem. Well, the Pokemon one costs more. It's like a
Yeah.
weird price.
Yeah,
It's like a
you
lot of
think
the Nintendo
Sword and Shield they
DLC.
might have done it right? Like the
Yeah,
Sword and Shield DLC was
but
pretty
that one
beefy.
was a bit more, I think. But yeah, the DLC pricing for Nintendo initially with some of their games was like $30 Australian. So I think it was like 20 American, and
Yeah,
then some games were 45, and now it's like a weird, like not quite $50 price, which is
oh, it
like I
just keeps
can't
going
believe
up,
it.
eh?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, but
The closer it gets to
I'm
like a full price game, it really makes it hard to justify it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, they should. I feel like they should put some of their second party stuff like Fire Emblem or Xenoblade passes onto it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
like Xenoblade 2, like put Torna on there or something like that. Like
yeah, that
you
would.
can't even buy Torna physically anymore. Like it was such a low print run, it's very hard to get, right?
Yeah, I
So
will. I think I can find it to someplace, but it was really annoying though because I got rid of Xenoblade 2 and Tournament you can play separately, but you can't play it separately if you bought it as the season pass because you need that to be able to open the game to get to the season pass.
mm-hmm.
So I needed to get that game back. Yeah. But yeah, they did do a separate physical tournament, which was really interesting. I
It
do kind of,
was, yeah.
I
I actually
do.
have that. I have
That's
that.
one of the ones where I think I can get it for not too bad price now. But like, I
Okay.
do. There's a couple games where I regret not getting an Australian print, even though it doesn't really matter.
Hmm.
Like, but they were right there at the shop, and I could have just bought them day, day one.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, it's hard to know sometimes, or
yeah,
sometimes you're just not in the budget, and you kick yourself later,
yeah.
but you do what you can in the moment, I guess.
But that's me looking at like, oh, I don't want to buy wave birds for $80, and now they're $200, and I'm like, ah.
Oh God, Wavebirds, yeah. I want to wrap up soon because we're just around an hour. I want to do a short last call about the Switch vouchers. I think you've had the vouchers in
Yeah,
Australia. They
they
never
did
went
not
away, right?
take them away. No.
Yeah. So they've just come back in North America. So I want to talk about that for last call just for a minute. But any final thoughts about Engage? Just sharing impressions. I imagine we might come back to this game after we finish it through. But yeah, are you recommending this to people? Like who, what are your kind of final
Yeah,
thoughts
I
after
think
11 chapters?
basically kind of the same as reviews where it's like if you like the gameplay, get it, but the characters are pretty shallow.
Hmm.
Story so far, it's okay, but it's not like Three Houses level of political intrigue, and like, even then there was flaws with Three Houses story, but it was at
Yeah,
least like I played one of the Blue Lions, and that was semi anticlimactic a little
yeah.
bit, but this it's much more just sort of a very by the numbers story so far.
For sure. Like my reason to keep going with Engage isn't to see how the story ends. It's
Yeah.
totally just to see what the next battle looks like because they've just been so fun. Like I'm surprised how much I'm getting into the combat, enjoying it. Wanting to kind of do it perfectly and really taking my time with each battle. I'm not rushing in like I might have done normally. Part of that is playing on hard mode for the first time. I
Mm.
normally play on normal difficulty, but so I am, and I'm trying. I know I'm going to lose characters, but like you said, like there's so many characters I'm not even playing as. Like I don't feel bad if someone I've been using dies because there's
Oh,
almost always someone in the same type of class to take their place.
I
So
remember
it's like
when I
it's
was
okay.
playing Three Houses, one of the characters died at the start of the last battle, and I was like, I could reset. Oh, it's the
Yeah,
last battle. I don't care.
it's time to move
I,
on to the next game,
I
right?
could just see like if I can beat it without them. Like
Yeah,
do-
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that
so
last battle is where it kind of goes out the window. Like if you're ready to move on to the next game, you've put in 30 to
like,
40 hours, like
do
you're
you
just gonna
really
go.
care to read what the happy ending thing is at the
Yeah, that's right.
end of the
Well,
game?
that's what YouTube is for, right? You can always
Yeah.
look it up after these days. So
There's a challenge. Try to like beat the final level of a Fire Emblem game, but kill off everyone but the main character.
that's hilarious. I guarantee you, I've been very close to that in one of my playthroughs of one of them, like where I've really only had the protagonist left, or maybe
I
one or
think
two characters.
I didn't get very far, but the first time I tried playing Awakening, I played Classic and didn't reset if a character died. So I'm very early in the game,
Yeah.
and I don't have a lot of people left, which nowadays is called like an Iron Man challenge. But
Yes. Right. Sure. There's a name
it'd
for
be
that. People are
it'd be funny to see if
punishing
I could
themselves.
actually beat it based
Yeah.
on what I did in the past.
Mhm. Um, yeah, so I think that'll wrap up our discussion of Fire Emblem Engage. But just as a quick last call, so I wanted to ask you: so you've had the vouchers the whole time. Do you still have them? Do you still buy them, or
I
are there any
do not
games this
use
year you want
them
to use them
because
for?
I can get Switch games for a discount elsewhere. So
Right,
there
right.
was one where I was tempted to, but I think it went on sale, maybe, or I
Okay,
just got gift cards. But because they put in the Europe, Australia, the Famicom Detective Club remakes weren't available separately. Like you could buy them
okay,
in the two stories. It was just a one package for $90, and it was like
right.
$90 for a digital only game. I'm like, but it's in the vouchers. So I was basically just waiting for there to be another overpriced digital only game, and
That's a
then
good
I
deal with
would
a
save.
voucher for sure. That's a
Right,
really good
right.
deal. Yeah.
But I think I ended up getting gift cards to get it. But that was my thing. I was holding out to waiting for another thing that's in there. I don't
Yeah.
want to spend that much on it, but with the voucher, it'll actually make sense.
Yeah, it's it's tough for me. Like I've been buying a bunch of physical like RPGs for sure, but now that my son's really gotten into Switch, like it is really nice to have digital, so he's not like switching
Mm,
cartridges all the time, and so we can both have it on our Switch at the same time, even if we're not
yeah,
playing at the same time. We don't have to be exchanging cartridges, so I
yeah.
kind of like that aspect. So I'm definitely gonna pick up a couple vouchers soon. It was just funny that it went away in North America, but they were
Yeah.
available everywhere else. I don't know what
It's
was
also really
behind that,
funny
but
when you click on the like it shows you the games and then one of them's on sale or something.
yeah, sure, exactly.
Or like Dragon Quest 11 got a price drop, so now it's not worth it for the bundle
That's right.
deal.
Yeah, there's a bunch of games that are like 10 or 20 bucks off, but they're still included in the vouchers, and you kind of you wipe out your discount if you choose one of those games, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't even I was looking at the list today of games that are, I guess, available for vouchers. I didn't realize that the new Bayonetta game is a full priced release. I thought it was a discount title for sure, but
What? Well,
yeah, at
but
least in North
I'm
America, it's $59.99. So, or in the US,
yeah,
it's fifty nine
I
ninety nine.
don't know. Yeah, to me, pretty much every Switch game is $80 in Australia, but
Yeah,
occasionally something's budget, like say Big Brain versus Brain, something like that might be.
yeah.
But generally, we don't really have the budget titles for
In
games.
Canada, it's either $79.99 for most games, or yeah, the like WarioWare, for example, I think was $64.99. So the
Yeah,
budget
like
games will be
maybe this
15
one
bucks
that's like
cheaper.
$10 cheaper occasionally
Yeah,
if it's,
yeah.
but yeah, we don't, yeah, don't have the $20 difference for budget
Right.
games.
I definitely want to, so I'm definitely going to grab a couple of vouchers. I'm thinking about, okay, one of them is going to be Tears of the Kingdom for sure. That is a game I want to have digitally. I regret not getting Breath of the Wild digitally when it first came out, and then it just became so late.
But
I'm like, I don't want to buy a 5 or 6 year old game now digitally, like when it was still full price. So Tears of the Kingdom for sure, it will get digital, and then maybe something like Pikmin 4, or not. I don't want to get an RPG digital because I like having physical copies of RPGs, but games where like I could see my son playing it at some point, or there's a multiplayer aspect maybe to add that
don't
longevity.
the vouchers work like you have to buy both at the same time?
You buy 2 vouchers, but
Yeah.
you don't have to use them at the
Oh,
same time. I don't
okay.
think, right? Yeah.
I
So I would
haven't
buy
done
two
this,
vouchers
so
and then
but
see what comes
I
down the rest
always
of the year.
do you think it's an interesting thing when people say, "Oh, I thought this game was going to be a budget," because people are talking about the Kirby game and like, "Oh, but it's full price," and I'm like, why wouldn't it be full? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like say Skyward Sword where they or Donkey Kong where they've jacked up the price from the past
Hmm.
price or something. So I was very yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, why would Nintendo make it cheaper?
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo has never made it cheaper for anything. Like it is
No,
not their MO. So no, yeah, I do. I'm with you. I find it surprising when people kind of complain about things not being budget titles. Like, Kirby's a mascot, franchise for Nintendo. Like it's a flagship for them. There's so many Kirby games that do come out that are smaller titles, digital ones, but
mm,
the physical ones are basically always full price, right? And I think it's fine. Return to Dreamland, I think is fun. Like I played that. Was it Wii or Wii U that it came out for
we
originally? Wii. Yeah. I thought that was a fun kind of sort of remake of one of the original games, I think. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to pick that one up, but I might if my son sees it, or if there's a demo, we'll probably try out the demo. That'd be cool. So it could very well end up being one of my one of my voucher games, and I'd probably buy another pair of vouchers. But yeah. Okay, why don't we wrap it up there? I want to thank Paige for joining me on this episode to talk about Fire Emblem Engage. We're both pretty into it, and definitely going to be playing more soon, getting through it before the middle to end of February when some more cool games come out that we're looking forward to, like Octopath Traveler 2, like a Dragon Ishin, and Kirby. What's the Kirby Return? What's the title of that game? The Kirby
Kirby's
game?
Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
Deluxe. They had a deluxe. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
couldn't remember what super deluxe
Yeah.
whatever they added to the end.
Kirby's
But
new Super Ultra U with Knuckles and featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry
that's
series.
right. That's right. Yeah, it's funny to put deluxe at the end of that Kirby game because you already have a Kirby game with deluxe in the title. That's not a re-release, right? Triple deluxe. So I just
Yeah.
thought it's kind of funny for them to do that. But Nintendo's going to Nintendo. If you haven't already, we would love if you left a review of the podcast on your podcast app, Thirsty Mage. You can reach David at thethirstymage.com for questions or comments by email, suggestions for episodes. We'd love to get some of those for 2023. Even though our schedules are pretty full with all the games coming out, we do love to revisit retro games, of course. But yeah, I think that'll do us for this episode. So thanks to everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.